Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. Welcome to Some Random Guy Speaks. We're going to start off with the American anthem. So put your hands, you stand up, put your hands over your chest, over your heart, as we're about to get started with the American anthem, ladies and gentlemen. This is just going to be a general conversation. I'm going to go back to my old school days here. So we're going to go ahead and do the American anthem. And here we go. Let's see here. Oh, I thought I had the American anthem here. So hold on for one moment here. I thought I had it going on here. Oh, there we go.
So proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleam. And bright stars through the perilous skies, o'er the ramparts we watch, were so gallantly streamed. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does bless our stable banner yet wave, for the land of the free and the
That's beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. Can we get an applause? All right, ladies and gentlemen. So started off with the Star Spangled Banner. Get that out the way. And I'm going to start doing that on my intro as well as my outro, So did my live here a little late today, but that's okay though, But yeah. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. Just general conversation of some things that has been going on here in America, especially after Charlie Kirk's death. And we have people that are very, very demonic, that do not care about a person that have lost their lives due to an assassination and things like that. This is an all-time low, when we come down to common decency. You would figure people would come together after a death, something traumatic that has happened. But no, not the progressive left. Look at the so-called, Democratic elites, which are nothing more than progressives and people that are following this path. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. But what we're going to do is that we're going to talk about some other things besides that and things. So I'm just going to wait for some other people to come into the chat, and then we can go ahead and have this conversation and things. I kind of started a little late, ladies and gentlemen, and I apologize. I do. But we will get on with the show. Hope you guys like my new my little thumbnail photo and things. And yeah, so other than that, I'm just going to wait for some more people to come in the live. I welcome the person that have popped in. Let me make sure I got my comments so I can see them. There we go. Show the comments there as well. There we go, so I can be able to see it. So we had some other people come in though, so I thank you for showing up. I'm at home in the studio. I'm still got some work to do, so it's not quite yet finished. I got some more work to do, but yeah, it's all good though. But yeah, so we're gonna have a good live and things today, talking about some things that are what's going on. So as you already know, Trump have already sent the National Guards, ladies and gentlemen, into Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis, of all places, but Memphis have a lot of violence and crime going on, gang activity and things like that. Memphis is very dangerous, homicide after homicide after homicide, and it's the black on black, which is the high percentage of the violence there in Memphis, Tennessee. So now that the National Guards have been deployed, they're there. And, now again, Trump is not violating the constitutional rights of that particular state, that government. These National Guards are there just to back up, just to make sure when ICE do their thing, that, everything runs smooth. If an ICE agent is attacked, they're going to take care of business. But other than that, they will not interfere with common activities at hand. So, yeah, so this is going to be a good thing to be able to clean that city up. To my Memphis, man. Memphis, for a long time, ladies and gentlemen, has been out of control, democratically poorly ran, democratic city, or I should say, it's a city. You know what I'm saying? That's been poorly ran and things. So like Memphis, there's a lot of other places besides Memphis that's poorly ran, especially on the left. And we're going to talk about that a little bit as well, as Trump. To kind of explain this to you guys. I know more people will catch up later, but you can, or I may do a recap. What's going on right now, ladies and gentlemen? As you already see, Trump is already preparing for Antifa, Transtifa. You know what I'm saying? He's already countering what they're planning to do. Like 2019, George Floyd, you already know Antifa. They got people activated. They use the illegals. They use these domestic criminals that I just mentioned to get them to start rioting, to tear up their communities, to cause disarray, social arrests, all this other type of stuff, all this madness going on, right? So this time, Trump have learned, right, the playbook of the Democratic progressive left, right? So he's putting out foot soldiers, right, which is National Guards, Marines if need to be. He'll send these people out there, and if Antifa were to show up, because Trump is only going to sign another, I believe, an executive order that's going to say that Antifa is a domestic terrorist organization. They already got the data. They already know who's who that are Antifa. They got great intel. They know who these people are, how they were funded, as he was mentioning, from George Soros. So George Soros, and you got the slush fund, which is Act Blue, right? These are the some of the slush funds designed to counter, right? We're talking about America and what his foot soldiers, which is Antifa. They are what we call anarchy, and they go out and cause anarchy in the streets, right? These are the tools and the weapons that the left and George Soros and so forth does, right? To cause disruption, confusion. These are provocateurs and saboteurs. So Trump is already going to counter. And that's why you're seeing the National Guards go to like 19 cities across the United States, which are poorly ran by Democratic progressives, that you heard me mention before. So now that we know, now it's starting to make a more sense why the National Guards, and not only that though too, is that these particular cities, once again, the Democrats had every opportunity to stop the crime. But according to the progressives, right, they need these out of control, violent people, right? Because this is their voter base. They know they have lost the black vote, but they want to still use these YNs, these local terrorists, right? Then you got the illegals that are over here, right? Gangs and so forth. This is one of the main things what they use, right? And Trump is countering that, right? So let's say that ICE, they have been successful rounding up these dangerous criminals and illegals that are in this country, rounding them up by the dozen. You know what I'm saying? He already got the okay from the judge at the high level of the land. Say it's okay for him to send the troops in. ICE, he had full permission to go in any 50 states, going after these illegals, getting them together, getting their behinds up on out of here, you know? Shout out to Trump. Shout out to Donald J. Trump, a real patriot, love America so much that he wants to get America back together. And this is basically what he's been doing. Ladies and gentlemen, he's been doing what we voted. We wanted this. Majority of us, what's it, 78 million people voted for this. This is what we wanted, right? It was something that the left did not want to do because this is their voter base, right? What it looked like for them going after the voter base, right? So for Trump, if he can get his people confirmed, right? About 130 some odd people need to be confirmed. We need to have our judges in there, the judges that we voted for, to get these corrupt, crooked ass judges out of here, right? We want them out of the appellate courts. We want them out of the 9th district courts and so forth, right? We need to get them out so Trump's people can be certified, get them in here. And this is one of the reasons that, in my opinion, why we haven't seen arrests yet, even though they've still been compiling the evidence, because we don't have enough judges, MAGA judges, people that's going to uphold the Constitution and the law of the land. And this is one of the main reasons why we haven't seen that yet, ladies and gentlemen. Until we see that, you know, and that's what they got to be confirmed, right? What they did with this Charlie Kirk thing, with the assassination, this is going to be their doom and their tomb. They won't make it. I'm talking about the progressive left. I call them out for what they are. It's not liberal. That's old. That's old hat, right? It's actually progressives. You have to understand what progressives are and what they stand for. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in the Constitution. These are people that believe in anarchy, right? These are people that pushing the transgender movement. They want to make this 1% as if it was the majority, right? They want to silence speech. They want to get rid of the Second Amendment gun rights. These are things that progressives stand for. You know, Obama is a progressive. Your Clintons are progressive. You got Adam Shifty shit. We can go right down the list, right? Hey, what's going on, iPad Ghost? Yep. How you doing, though, sir? Yep. But yeah, so this is basically what it is. We have all these people, you know, that I just mentioned, right? We've got iPad Ghost in the house, ladies and gentlemen. iPad Ghost, one of my mods, you know. So yeah, but this is basically what it is right now, right? We're talking about progressives, right? These are the ones that have hijacked the Democratic Party to another whole level. You know what I'm saying? They really have. So the way that we're looking at it, I appreciate you, iPad Ghost, man. Thanks for showing up. I'm a little late coming to the party today, but yeah, I had to take care of a few things. But I said I'm just having a general conversation in regards to what's going on out here in the world today. And yeah, so as we study looking at it right now, look how out of control these progressives are. You know, they hate God, as I said before. They don't believe in any type of, they hate Christians too. They hate God. We are living, they try to get us into a lawless society. They you know, you already know with the children thing, you know, I'm not going to say it, but they uphold that as well. They even trying to pass laws to make that okay. You know, sleep with minors and all this other nonsense, right? This is the stuff that they stand for, ladies and gentlemen. You got to understand what progressive really mean. This is not just a liberal thing, ladies and gentlemen. They, as I said, they hate God. They hate freedom of speech. They hate anything that's wholesome and good, right? They play groups against each other, right? They are for war. This is another one. They are for war, you know, and more war. More money, more war, right? They love violence because look at these Democrat-led cities, right? This has been going on forever, you know. Look at a red city, which is mainly in the suburbs, and then look at the inner cities, right? They're all deplorable until Trump had to step up and send in National Guards. As you heard me mention earlier, they're over there in Memphis, Tennessee right now, you know. He's countering the what's to come. Trump knows what's coming. And anybody know the playbook from before? We know Antifa is right around the corner, waiting to be activated. But they need the people. They need the lawlessness first in order to activate Antifa. They don't have enough people in Antifa, but these are the people that go out here, smash windows, break glass. These are hired hands, ladies and gentlemen. They set fires to establishments, graffiti on the walls, kicking glass. and so forth. They did it over there in what's that, Minnesota, right? They did it in Minnesota, Portland. They did it in these areas, right, which caused riots, right? This is the stuff. They know the playbook. This is what they do. And I just want to be a reminder to you guys as to why Trump is doing what he's doing now. You know, it really is. Yeah, iPad Go says they're demons. They really are. These are soulless, heartless people and things. So this is what's going on. You can't reason with a beast. That's why I don't even debate them anymore, because they're not even worth debating. They on the same chant. It's like they can't think for themselves. They hate critical thinking, right? They don't even know how to, not just they hate critical thinking, but we're talking about common sense, right? And we're talking about logic, which they hate logic and they hate common sense. I'm talking about these progressive soy boys, you know, and these emotional ass women that swing far left. These are far left progressives, the most dangerous people that we ever had to encounter. And unfortunately, we lost one of our own, which is Charlie Kirk, to this nonsense. We lost the poor Ukrainian girl and the sister as well that also got deleted by an illegal that was in this country, you know. So I'm here to talk about a little of that once again, because as I said, I am Charlie Kirk too. A lot of us decide to say we are Charlie Kirk. I am Charlie Kirk, right? This is basically what has to happen. So therefore, the progressives don't win. They're not winning, they're losing. And this is why I'm very, very happy for the fact that a lot of them lost their jobs. And I've never been sad about somebody losing their job. But in this particular case, I'm very happy for them losing their job because they deserved it for the insensitive comments that they made towards this man at no fault to his own, though, but just speaking the gospel truth. He wasn't no hater of the black community or nobody, you know. This is just a bunch of crap, you know. These shield people that get paid by the left and spit out lies and hypocrisy and bullshit, you know what I'm saying? So that's exactly what it is. iPad Go says it's just unchecked femininity without strict borders. Girls go rogue. Yeah, so yeah, yep, that's exactly what it is, you know. They go rogue, you know, they go rogue. Yeah, but yeah, that's what I'm saying though, ladies and gentlemen. This is a bunch of, you know what, man. It really is. I'm gonna also talk about some of these liberal companies as well too, and things, so that way you guys will know. Now, I'm not saying that they're progressive per se. I'm saying that they're liberals. They could. I'm not for sure, but I thought it would be cool just to talk about them a little bit and get a list of them, and then I'm gonna go over the list, you know, over some of these companies. Did you know, guys? Did you know that Microsoft leans more towards the left, right? Netflix, they're also a tech company. Most of your tech companies lean towards the left. Apple leans towards the left as well. They have donated 97% to Democrats, just so that you know. These companies like Microsoft, they donate a lot to the left. Microsoft, Apple, there's a lot of other companies. Adobe, 99% of them donate to the left. We also have Intel, right? Intel, the people, the processing company, right? These are the people that supported DEI, right? And things like that. So we just got to go ahead and tell it for what it really is. These companies, ladies and gentlemen, these are the ones also that fuel and pay for the left. This is where a lot of your campaign money and stuff come from. Because in order to, have a party, you got to have deep money pockets, man. You really do. You just can't say, hey, I want to be president. Who's going to back you? You know what I'm saying? And things. But we're talking about a lot of Fortune 500 companies. We got Target. Anybody that knows, Target is actually a company that supports the LGBTQ community. Now, I don't have any problems with the LGBTQ community. Like I said, this ain't about, I'm just letting you know what companies are actually liberal. You know what I'm saying? This is what this is all about. There's a few others, Ben and Jerry's. You know those guys, Ben and Jerry's ice cream, right? and things. I know Reddit is liberal, Costco is liberal, right? They actually support progressive labor policies. We also have Levi, the jeans company. We got Nike, we got Adidas, we got Tesla. That's another one, automotive company. A lot of liberals buy Teslas, than conservatives. Honda as well too. Honda is another one. PayPal, right? PayPal supports DEI. American Express, 100% pay equity, right? We're talking about Yahoo, Forbes, but for American Express, CVS Health. I remember CVS, right? They also are liberal. Johnson & Johnson, also Starbucks, right? Starbucks as well. They are the ones that support this stuff. Disney, everybody know Disney, bipartisan, liberal, right? So these are the companies. Oh yeah, don't leave out some of the rideshare companies like Lyft and Uber. They also swing towards the left, Yep. And the things that I don't like about these rideshare companies, and I'm just gonna put it out there, even though I stopped driving for Lyft and things. I really, really dislike their policies when it come down to there's things that me and the company don't agree on and things like that. They pretty much support the passengers. If the passengers say one thing about you negative or you was being discriminative, they'll just shut you off. And this is what progressive liberals do. See, because remember I said before, they don't believe in the Constitution. It's like they got their own policies, They want you to be right 100%. People can make up lies all the time, right? It don't even matter. You can even have a dash camera in your car. They'll still slant towards the passenger and kick your behind off the app. This is how bad it is, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? So is that fair to the drivers? Absolutely not. That's why I just tell the drivers, if I had to pick between the two, I would pick Uber. One thing I got to say with Uber will ask you and get your word on it. They may stop your account temporarily. They just won't deactivate you. They'll just stop your account to kind of say, okay, what's going on? Let's find out what it is. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But I don't like Lyft at all. I do. It's a company I just cannot stand. I dislike that company with a passion, If any stocks I probably have would probably be an Uber, not Lyft at all. Can't stand them, man. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, I can't stand them. So other than that, those are some of your main ones on the liberal side. And you can see that all that money, right? All that money that they have, let's say, donated towards these liberal companies and things like that. I mean, I'm talking about for the liberal companies, and a lot of them get a lot of support and donors, right? You got the Hollywood, right? They donate a lot of money on towards the Democrats, right? Then you got the blacks, right? You got the black church, right? You know what I'm saying? You got the black fraternities, sorority groups. You got a lot of other people too. Just a lot of money going on the Democratic side. Let's make no mistakes about it. But I mean, I've even heard ministers celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. They going to call this guy a racist. I never heard anything Charlie Kirk said was racist. It's like when whites have a different opinion about, because it loves telling the same old slave narratives that a lot of progressive, liberals don't like, I mean, the ones that they like. And then when you happen to challenge that or come up with something different, now they're going to call you a racist, right? It's like the same thing with this type of stuff. See, the progressives, they're not looking for dialogue. They never really have. They won't debate you. They just want to delete you. Just know this, right? Because again, you can point to Charlie Kirk. Look at this. We had an attempt assassination on our president, and now with Charlie Kirk, you know what I'm saying? Who else? It's coming from them. Name me a conservative that go out here and does this. The ones they say, oh yeah, he was a conservative. He was a conservative. No, he wasn't. The shooter wasn't a conservative. He was a liberal. You know what I'm saying? He was a liberal. And this is what they do. They get somebody, put a battery in their back, they go out here and do something stupid. It's what they do. They will not have a real debate because it's lunacy. It's like, why would I even waste my time? When they come in this room, they usually come in here insulting, trying to be. I'm not bothered by it, but I'm just saying, they come in here being disruptive. That and they bots, but they don't really come in here for no real constructive criticism. Not one of them say, hey man, can I come up on your channel and you know, debate you or whatever like that. It's always result in some type of name calling. And that's what they're crybabies, ladies and gentlemen. And now that the world see them for what they really are, they have become very, very small group. It's not big as it used to be anymore. It's gotten smaller. Conservatives have always been the majority folk anyway, because we wasn't riding with a lot of their BS hypocrisy crap stuff that they were trying to push on us and things like that, you know. And like I said before, I would like to see these laws on the local fronts removed with this gun safety zones. That needs to be removed, as I said before, because gun safety is not gun safety. I mean, look what happened with Charlie Kirk. You know, when these people go to these rallies for this gun zones, gun safe zone or whatever. So it's, you know what I'm saying? That's the thing about it. I do believe, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe had someone would have been there, right, with something. That's why I just stay away from those areas. I don't go to them. I'm not going to go to a gun safe zone because we already know you can have a lone assassin up in there. Somebody can come in there. This guy wasn't checked. They said this guy he was able to break down the rifle and put it in his backpack. But I don't believe he was alone with this Charlie Kirk assassination. He couldn't have been alone. He was working with other people. I probably want to say, for my guess, it probably would have been maybe about 2 people there along with him. 2 or 3 people, probably 2 people, right? Because I believe that's a real gunman. And this is the patsy, you know, just like with the Lee Harvey Oswald thing, though. If you think that Lee Harvey Oswald was the only one out there as the shooter, it's been known. I mean, many people said it's a limousine driver. Shots came in various areas and stuff like that. I got a bridge to sell you. Barbecue Roadkill, what's going on with you, man? Barbecue Roadkill says, I agree with you. iPad Go says, is it for the Black Rock points? Black Rock points. Let me see. Tarjay. Yeah, Tarjay. Yeah, I know what you were saying. Amazon, Nvidia. Yep. Yeah, all tech companies. I'm over reading iPad Go stuff. Yeah. And he said iPad Go's Adam first sin wasn't eating the apple. It was listening to a, you know, yeah. We already know he listened to a woman. Like Kevin Samuel, yeah. I'm over here just catching up on what you said there, iPad Ghost. Yeah, it's just unchecked. Yeah, I read that. Okay, getting caught up. Yeah, man, welcome to the chat, man. Yeah, Tarjay, you know, is what we call it, you know. But I was just going over earlier with all these liberal, progressive tech companies, man, and things. So that's probably one of the reasons why I actually stay out of a lot of them. Some of them are okay though, you know. And I happen to like Target stuff. Target got some nice stuff in there. I said, damn, man, why they got to be so liberal? But yeah, they're not as bad now after the woke thing got destroyed with them, because they were really getting on my nerves with that woke stuff. Can we just, you know, why can't it just be for everybody? Why do y'all have to want to have something special for the LGBTQ community? They're only 4% made up. Just be happy. We talking about everybody is included. Ain't nobody keeping nobody out because they're gay or being a lesbian or whatever. They can go up in Target and never. We don't have any problems with them. Even on the right, they got LGBTQ people on the right. That's what many people on the left really don't realize. You know what I'm saying? People are people. You ain't never heard me say, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know, but you know what I'm saying? Everybody is included. talking about diversity, equity, inclusion. Everybody been diversity, equity, inclusion. You can go anywhere and shop, being as gay as you want, buy a car. Nobody discriminating against nobody. Just like somebody black. Black folks know they can go in there and buy a Cadillac. They can buy a Bentley. Ain't nobody discriminate you. As long as you got the money, they'll sell to you. You can go to school. You acting like it's the 1950s or the 60s. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy. iPad Go says, yeah, we love the studs over here. I mean, yeah, we love everybody. You know, that's the thing about it, though. You know, with this, with the MAGA thing, it's not that old conservative, neocon, racist. It's not that. It's not that. You know, because like you always heard me say, I never been a Bush fan either. Bush was an undercover liberal too. They was serving the same master. That's why in his day with the voting thing, whether it was senior or junior, it didn't matter if you was voting left or the right. You were still voting for the same damn person that was running everything. You know, we so much beyond that now. We actually have a man that the people put in the office for the first time. It wasn't, you know, all your other presidents are selected, right? And then we actually had one that was elected. And the ones that were selected is part of what we call the deep state. That's exactly what it is. Timothy Waterman says, hi. Hello back to you, you know. I want to give a shout out to you guys. Barbecue Roadkill, Pet Ghost, and so forth. You know, Timothy coming into the room. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. How are you? Oh, I'm doing well, Timothy. How about yourself? How about yourself, sir? How you doing? Yep. I got to do a restroom break, guys. Hold on for a minute. All right, let me see here. Oh, there it is. Got to do a restroom break here for a moment. So, yep, I'll be right back here. Restroom break. Ooh, boy. All right. Restroom break real quick. Right. I am back. I'll be back, baby. All right. Had to get the restroom break out the way real quick. All right. Okay, let's see here. Okay, here we go. Let's see here. Okay, I am back. Okay. So that's basically what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. Now that I'm back and things, I did the American anthem earlier, and I said I was going to start back by doing it, you know. But yeah, it's all good. All good, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. All right. Let's see here. All right. So yeah. So other than that, you know, going back to been making some points. So now let's go over the actual conservative companies, right? So ExxonMobil, right? Yeah, they have always been a conservative favorite. About 95% donations. They donate Republican. Chevron does too. Chevron as well. You also have ConocoPhillips, right? They donate. These are Republicans. Koch Industries, right? These are Republican companies in general. Hobby Lobby, Chick-fil-A, you know, they have strong conservative values. So conservative that they even close on Sundays. They observe the Sabbath, right? And things. Remember, they got a little bit heated. Was a little controversy with them and things, but Chick-fil-A, Cracker Barrel, right? Believe it or not, Cracker Barrel traditionally always have a high conservative polls with a lot of their, you know, as far as the company originally. Now that CEO of Cracker Barrel, you know how that go. Yeah, that wasn't a smart move at all what she did. Dillard's is actually a conservative as well. Home Depot, General Dynamics, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, USAA, and things. So they are on the right. Berkshire Hathaway, right? Deere, right? The company, which is John Deere, right? Ford Motor Company, right? They have, supported Republicans. You know what I'm saying? Coca-Cola, right? The Cola brothers, right? You got Fox Corporation, Rupert Murdoch, even though he can't stand Trump. I believe Rupert is probably more like I would probably consider him more maybe like not necessarily a rhino, but I just think that because there's people that work for Fox that love Trump. He just can't stand Trump because Trump can't be controlled. Papa John's, yeah, remember him? Papa John's Pizza. He got in a little controversy. Papa John, the CEO of Papa John's, y'all remember that? Arch Resources and Marriott International. Marriott, that hotel. I actually happen to like Marriott. I never stayed at a Marriott, but yeah, those are some of the conservative companies, ladies and gentlemen, that are conservative. So yeah, but other than that, I love showing the flag up here, ladies and gentlemen, and things. So this is our history. This is America. This is our country. You know what I'm saying? Now, what we're going to do, we're going to go over the 27 amendments. I said that I'm going to go back to my old school ways where we used to go over the amendments. And there's 27 of them, so that you guys already know, 27 amendments and things. So the Constitution and the amendment history, right? We're talking about the Constitution Amendment. It's actually change or additions, right, to the U.S. Constitution, which is a set of rules for how our government works. See what I'm saying? Our Constitution was written in 1787, more than 200 years ago. People who wrote it wanted this document to be strong but flexible. So, right, they created a way to add new rules when needed. These updates are called amendments, right? Some amendments protects our rights, like the right for free speech. You heard me say that many times, or the right to vote. Others fix problems or improve how the government works. For an amendment to become part of the Constitution, most of the states have to agree that it's a good idea. And that's exactly what ended up happening, ladies and gentlemen. We have what we call the First Amendment, right? And I love the First Amendment. This is the First Amendment that gives everyone, no matter if you are LGBTQ, black or other, right? The First Amendment, right, gives everyone 5 important freedoms, which is the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom to gather peacefully, and the freedom to ask government for change, right? That means you can say your opinion, believe in any religion or not at all. You have a right to be an atheist if you want to, right? And to share your ideas without being punished. There's a lot of countries out there, ladies and gentlemen, that do not have this First Amendment right at all. And some of you that came through here the right way, you know what I'm talking about. This amendment was added because people who started the country wanted to make sure that no one could be silenced like they were under the British rule. The Britain right now, they're actually going through a freedom of speech issue. They got the big tech companies. They're trying to silence their voice over there. And they cannot allow this to happen. That's why they've been fighting over there now. They're protesting over there now because this is your freedom of speech. You know what I'm saying? Your right is your life, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's also talk about my second one, right? My second one. So we got the Second Amendment, right? We're going to go over these amendments like I used to, right? because it's a beautiful thing. All right, I'm gonna get caught up before I get going here. I've almost, yeah, I got to turn on my thing here. Okay, there we go. I can see the chats now. Hey, how are you? Yeah, Timmy says it's been a while. Yeah, I remember you, Timothy. Yeah, I'm good, man. Did you eat Cracker Barrel? Yeah, I sure did. I had Cracker Barrel last week. Yeah, I had Cracker Barrel. Me and a friend of mine from Canada came over. Yeah, I had Cracker Barrel. I had the pancakes, you know. But when I first went to Cracker Barrel, I would say about 3 weeks ago, they had the LGBTQ flags out there on the rocking chairs, you know. And I said to myself, since when did Cracker Barrel become so liberal? It was like, so I just went in there anyway, you know. And then I noticed that the logo changed. I said, damn. This is before I even read on the news that they did it. I said, they took the white man off and it just had a plain Cracker Barrel, you know. I mean, the name Cracker, you know, nobody had a problem with Cracker Barrel, right? Nobody had a problem with that. But they had a problem with the white man being on there. So, which I'm glad they put the white man back on there, you know. So, yeah, they put the white man back on that logo. I'm glad the food didn't change, but yeah, I didn't think that it was a smart move coming from the CEO, because I've been looking at their stocks and their stocks started going down, man. It was starting to drop. I forgot by how much percentage, but yeah, well, when you go there, do that woke stuff, and shame on Cracker Barrel, by the way, because they should have known better. If you looked at the history, ask Target, ask Jaguar or Jaguar, depending on what part of the world you're from to pronunciate, Jaguar or Jaguar, ask them, right? Ask them what I mean, you know what I'm saying? They were losing money. What about Budweiser? You know, we're talking about Bud Light and all that stuff. They put that transgender thing on the beer. I mean, what were they thinking? You know, these people are like 1%. Are you kidding me? I'm going to destroy my brand by putting this stuff up on here. Let's just get to the money. Stop pushing agendas. They don't even make up the status quo. Like, make it like sound like these people are against these people. No, it's 1%. We're not, I mean, you know, make it sound like we live in a world over here, society where there's a bunch of them walking around here. So yeah, let me go ahead and do this. Yeah, Papa John's is overrated. Yeah, I don't like Papa John's very much. Timothy said, I love that flag. Hey, I appreciate it, Timothy, man. Yeah, I love the flag too, man. I'm going back to my old ways, Timothy. I don't know how far you remember me, man. I used to, on my early days last year, I used to show the flag with the American anthem and everything. So yeah, I'm going back to that, you know. Timothy says, first read the Constitution. Yeah, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go back to that. But I just wanted to make a point and a side note on that, right? And so where were we here? So, oh yeah, Second Amendment rights, right? The Second Amendment says that people can carry a weapon, right? When it was written, Americans had just finished fighting the Revolutionary War. And they wanted to make sure, right, that they would be allowed to protect themselves and their communities if needed. Today, people still talk about how their rights should work in modern times, right? The Second Amendment. Now let's go ahead and go a little bit further now, as far as with the Second Amendment right. So under the Second Amendment right, you know, we have the right to bear arms, right? In case the new government begins to be taking away their rights. Isn't that what's happening now? Wasn't they with these tech companies in bed with each other? They were trying to take our First Amendment right. They were trying to go after our guns, right? This is against the Constitution of the United States. What is a well-regulated militia, right? Militia was a group of local men who could act as the military force in times of emergency, right? Most of all of the men at that time were part of a local militia. We still have militias today, ladies and gentlemen. You best believe, we got one here in Michigan. We got them pretty much in all states. So there's a lot of states, especially in the South. There's a lot of militias going on, right? So a well-regulated militia was one that is trained, organized, and disciplined, right? In other words, not a bunch of guys with guns. You see what I'm saying? So they were acting as the military if need to be, right? They were there, right? This is what we're talking about here, right? Gun laws, right? This is also under the Second Amendment, right? For people to own a gun. It doesn't matter. It does not prevent government regulations of firearms. Let me say that again. It does not prevent government regulations of firearms. Gun laws keep guns out of the hands of criminals, right? Or mentally ill, right? Which I believe that, right? So this is basically what it is. The Second Amendment rights, man. And this goes way back with the British attempt to disarm the Patriots. And that's what they did. This is what sparked the Revolutionary War here in America. America stood up against Britain. We said, hell no, we won't go. We didn't back down with Britain, ladies and gentlemen. But that's what ended up happening. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we told Britain with the middle finger, right? This is what we did. Now, Britain over in the UK, they turned in their guns. Same thing with Australia. They turned in their guns, right? And when that was one of the most foolish and one of the stupidest mistakes that they ever did. Look what's happening. UK failed, man. They're trying to protest, and I ain't mad at them, but we know it failed, man. Australia, look at what's going on. You know, now they got mass immigration. Man, they ain't got to listen to them because they ain't got no guns. They got to listen to us because we're going to keep the government feet to the flame because of the Constitution, as well as the Second Amendment rights. If you don't know any other ones, you should know some of the most important ones that we're going to go over right now, because I got to go back to my old ways when it comes down to the Constitution. And I'd like to see more content creators talk about that as well. We need to go over this because weren't they trying to do that here? Look at what happened with COVID. They were pushing that, you got to be vaccinated. If you ain't got the card, you can't go in no job, you know. Look at what they did to those truckers over there in Canada, right? They fucked over those truckers over there in Canada, man. They really did, man. They really did, man. They ran willy-nilly on them, man. You know what I'm saying? They're also in trouble. Canada got some strict gun laws over there. Why? Because they do not have a constitution. And Canada, shame on you, because you had an opportunity to rebel against UK just like us. But y'all went along for the okie doke. And y'all been paying for it ever since. You got a shitty economy right now. You got high taxes, PST, GST, HST, LMNOP. You know what I'm saying? So y'all couldn't even stand with America. Y'all could have been a free nation. Y'all could have joined on to America. We could have been Can-America or American. That's what we could have been. You know what I'm saying? It's still Canada in there and American. You know what I'm saying? Shit, we call y'all North America anyway. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so you want to learn from history. See, they didn't learn, you know? They thought it was all okay being up under the Commonwealth, man. And look what happened. That's why if I were to show y'all right now, what's the person in Parliament, what did it say? It was somebody high up saying, well, yeah, in case if there's a break-in, call the police. Don't take matters in your own hands. We don't want to feel like you're totally defensive. But you told me they can't even use their guns in case if there's an intruder. That's why I would never be a Canadian citizen. Not with those stupid laws. That'll get you killed. Yeah, so that'll get you killed, ladies and gentlemen. It really would. So let's go ahead and go over the rest of them, because this is important, right? So where was I? All right. So the Third Amendment, right? The Third Amendment says that you don't have to let soldiers live in at your house. Back when America was a colony, the British soldiers would say to the people's where they would stay in the people's homes without their permission. Because you know UK was like that, right? We're gonna go in your homes anyway, whether you like it or not. We even had to have a constitution, which is the Third Amendment, prohibiting that, right? You know what I'm saying? So So the writers of the Constitution want to make sure that this never happened again. That's why they put it in one of the amendments. So the colonies started growing even more. I think we had like the 13 colonists at the time. We got the 4th Amendment, right? This is one that I always like as well. The 4th Amendment protects the privacy, right? Police or government can't search your home or take your things without they have a good reason. So unless if they have a good reason and permission from a judge, right? Everybody should know the 4th Amendment because this is what protects you. They just can't come in your home and say what's, you know what I'm saying? But in Canada, UK, and everywhere else, they can go in there. They don't have to have a judgment order because their government makes the rules. The people have privileges. We as the people make the rules and expect for people in the government to follow them. And if they don't follow them, then we vote them out of there. That's basically how our system works. We have three branches of government, right? Executive, legislative, and judicial. We have 3 of them, right? And they work as what we call basically a check and balance system, right? So now there's no power can outweigh the other. As far as with the executive order, which is at the president's level, he just can't send in National Guards and say, okay, you guys going to act as police officers. That's why a lot of you heard Trump say many of times that they are there just to be there as a presence. And he knows what he's doing because this is psychological warfare to a lot of these criminals. When they see National Guards and tanks and everything, they'll be reluctant. They would not want to mess with the military. Nobody would. They're going to be on their best behavior, right? But ICE can go in there and do what they need to do, right? ICE has the permission through the federal courts to do what they're doing. At ICE level, they can go in there and do it. They can round up these illegals, get these illegal criminals round them up to get them processed and get them to be deported. And that's what we voted for, right? Now, let's talk about the 5th Amendment, right? The 5th Amendment, right? Everybody knows that one, right? Right? When they say I plead the 5th. So the 5th Amendment gives people the right in court. You can't put on a trial twice for the same crime. That's called double jeopardy, right? And you don't have to say thing in court. You don't have to. I plead the 5th. That could prove you guilty. This amendment also says that the government can't take your land unless they really need it. And if they do, they have to pay you for it. It's true. They just cannot come in and take your land. The government do not have the right to come in and take your land. Because again, it's unconstitutional. If they were to do it, they have to pay you for it, right? So this is important, once again, ladies and gentlemen, in regards to the Constitution. The Constitution is a beautiful thing. I always harp on it. I always talk on it, right? Let's go down the list. Let's get it. So the 6th Amendment, ladies and gentlemen, if someone is accused of a crime, right? The 6th Amendment promised a quick and public trial, not waiting in years like some places over in Bangkok, Thailand somewhere, or Indonesia, or Singapore. You are up on a crime over there, you are guilty until proven innocent. But here in America, you are innocent until proven guilty. You have a right to an attorney. You have a right to a speedy trial, right? So let's go ahead and go further with it. The person must be told, right, what they're being accused of. And they can get a lawyer or help to get a lawyer, right? This amendment was made to protect people from being thrown in jail without a fair chance to defend themselves. That's what many Democrats say, due process, right? We always have had due process, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't like something that people don't have, right? Here it is, the 7th Amendment, right? The 7th Amendment lets people ask for a jury trial for a court case. These are cases about money or disagreement between people. The jury helps decide what's fair not just a judge alone. See, we have a jury of their peers. You know what I'm saying? So this is why America is so great, ladies and gentlemen. This is why they're so great. Just checking my comments. But thank you guys for rocking with me so far. But yeah, this is what makes America so great. It really does, right? But let's talk about the Eighth Amendment. The Eighth Amendment protects people from being punished too harshly. Wow. It says that no cruel punishment are allowed. The government can't charge someone too much for bail or fine, right? Because again, what is it, like 10%? So if it's being charged $100,000, 10% of that, I do believe. So again, we're much more civilized here in America, right? Because we believe that in other countries, they throw you behind in jail and charge you what they want to charge you. That's just totally criminal, right? Because we have, again, the Constitution, you know? So there that is, right? So it just wouldn't be fair, right? The 10th Amendment. Wow, we at the 10th Amendment already. The 10th Amendment says that any power that the Constitution does not give federal government belongs to the states, right? Or people. This keeps a balance so the national government does not get too powerful. Let me say that one more time, guys. The 10th Amendment says that any power that the Constitution doesn't give to the federal government belongs to the state, right? This is important, or people. This keeps a balance so the national government does not get too powerful, right? And this is what it was designed originally, right? But what was happening is that the balances were going away. They were even trying to get rid of the 3 levels of government. And this was between Barack Obama as well as Biden. They were trying to get rid of the 3 branches of government. They were trying to get rid of these checks and balances so they could have one say-all, like the government, because they were really hacking the Constitution. They really want to get rid of that as well, too. The Constitution is a big hindrance to the progressive left, ladies and gentlemen. Believe that. And if they were successful, you would have saw America plunge into a dark state big time, man. Big time. 11th Amendment passed in 1795, right? So the 11th Amendment limits when someone can sue a state. If you're from a different state or country, you can't take a state to the federal court unless the state says it's okay. This is added to protect states from too many lawsuits. This is exactly what it is, ladies and gentlemen. The 12th Amendment. The 12th Amendment changed how we vote for a president and vice president. Before, the person with the most votes became president and the runner-up became vice president. That caused a problem. So now each candidate for president pick their own vice presidential candidate and they run together. That's the 12th Amendment. Makes a lot of sense. The 13th Amendment, right? You heard me mention about the 13th Amendment before. Passed in Civil War back in 1865. The 13th Amendment ended slavery in America, right? It ended slavery in America. It made it illegal to own other people or force them to work without a pay, right? 14th Amendment, right? The 14th Amendment also passed after the Civil War, saying everyone born in the United States as a citizen must be treated equally by law that helps protect formerly enslaved people. You guys remember me saying about the 14th Amendment, birthright citizenship? It was designed, right, for ex-slaves. It didn't say nothing about illegals being born over here. And I'm shaming on blacks because they don't know their history. If they don't know anything, you should know the First Amendment, Second Amendment. You should actually know the Fourth, the Sixth, and the Seventh. the 5th, 6th, and 7th, and you should know the 13th, 14th, and the 15th Amendment if you don't know anything else, especially for black folks. But they over here siding along saying that these illegals have a right to be called Americans, trying to hide and ride up under the banner of ex-slaves. They were never no ex-slaves, right? They were not. This is why the amendment was put in, because this is what it is. Now, going further now, I'm saying though, in 1870, right? Because, oh yeah, I can get to that one. Yeah, hold on for a minute. This helped protect formerly enslaved people, and those were black people, right? 1865, right? The 15th Amendment says that no one can be stopped for voting because of their race or skin color, right? This was passed in 1870, ladies and gentlemen, to help African American men vote after slavery ended, right? This is exactly what it is. This is why I said, if they don't know anything, you should be knowing about the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment. If you don't, excuse me, if you don't know anything else, right? So, the 17th Amendment. Before the 17th Amendment, state governments picked U.S. senators, right? After this amendment was passed in 1913, wow, people got to vote for their senators directly, right? There it is. The 18th Amendment in 1919, the 18th Amendment banned alcohol in the United States, but couldn't make sales or drink alcohol legally anymore. This amendment was created to stop the problem that alcohol can create. But the ban didn't work well, and it caused other problems. Because y'all remember with Prohibition and all that stuff, you know? So here it is. The 19th Amendment rolled around, and we all should know about this one. Women's suffrage, they weren't allowed to vote. 19th Amendment passed in 1920, gave women the right to vote. Women had to fight, right, for years to be included in elections, and the amendment to make sure that their voice could be heard. You know, so, you know, my thing is, you know, I got my personal reasons why I don't particularly like that amendment, ladies and gentlemen, and things like that. But that's neither here or there. I'll go over that some other time. But the 20th Amendment, right? Now, what's interesting, let's talk about it, because there's a lot of controversy that came up around, I believe it's this one here. It's one of these amendments, I believe. Hold on, I don't think it's the 20th Amendment, but it's still on to read it anyway. The 20th Amendment changed the start date for the president and Congress, right? It used to take longer for someone who was elected to get from where they lived to Washington, D.C. So they would be elected in the fall, but wouldn't take office until March. Now the president and Congress start their terms in January. So January, this is the time, I think it's the 20th, where they go into, once they're elected and become the president. So the 20th Amendment say so, right? Before that, it used to be in March. 21st Amendment. In 1933, the 21st Amendment repealed or canceled the 18th Amendment. People had found ways around alcohol ban. And this led to a lot more crime, right? So, but it was ratified though, you know? So here it is. People had ways, yeah, so it was ratified. We're talking about, I believe that was with the Prohibition stuff and all that, and things, because at the time there was an alcohol ban. It used to be illegal to drink, you know? That wasn't stopping them from making moonshine and all this other stuff. The 22nd Amendment. After Franklin D. Roosevelt was elected president 4 times, right? The 22nd Amendment was passed to limit presidents to 2 terms or 8 years total. This makes sure that one person doesn't stay in power too long. And we know why that is, because the longer they're in power, the more corrupt they can be, possibly, right? In some cases, and things. But there's talks about the 22nd Amendment being ratified and things because of Trump. There's big controversy. I personally don't think that he would run for the third term. He could, because this election was stolen from him. But I don't think he would want to run a third term, though, you know. Let me see here. The 23rd Amendment. Before 1961, people living in Washington, D.C. could vote for a president. The 23rd Amendment gave them that right. So here it is again. They couldn't vote. I didn't know. Before I started getting into the Constitution a long time ago, I didn't know people that was living in Washington, D.C. weren't allowed to vote. But now they can, but it's the District of Columbia, and maybe because it's not recognized as a state for real, I think that could be a lot of reasons for that. 24th Amendment says that people don't have to pay money. It was called a poll tax. I used to mention about this, right? This amendment was passed in 1964 to stop the unfair rules that made it harder for some people, especially African Americans, to vote. Because the Democrats hated the fact that black slaves were free, right? After the abolishment of slavery, right? Then what else was happening? So the Ku Klux Klan started, and segregation, Jim Crow, all this stuff started after the Reconstruction period, right? Right around this is what ended up happening around the Reconstruction period. So what happened? This is exactly what happened, though. So they had to come up with a thing, because they were charging blacks people to go. You go to the polls, you had to pay a poll tax. That's what it was called. But they got rid of it on the 25th Amendment. The 26th Amendment passed in 1971 during the Vietnam War. The 26th Amendment lowered the voting age from 21 to 18, right? At 18, you're considered an adult. But why is it that you could drink when you have to be 21? Never made any sense to me. People said that if you were old enough to fight in war, you should be old enough to vote. And I agree. You should be old enough to drink too, because you should be allowed to drink at 18. I can't determine which one, because it's so true when you think about it, though, right? Let's see if you guys made any comments. If not, I'm gonna keep on going. Did you guys? Okay, you still there? All right. I'm almost finished. I got one more amendment to go. So the 27th Amendment, ladies and gentlemen, the 27th Amendment says that if Congress votes to give itself a raise, the raise wouldn't take effect until after the next election. That is why voters can decide whether they agree before they get a raise, before the raise happens. All right. If they don't agree with, can vote out their members of Congress, so the representatives who voted for the raise won't be able to benefit from it. This is important, ladies and gentlemen. This amendment was actually the first suggested in 1789, but didn't officially pass until 1992. You know what I'm saying? So here it is right here, ladies and gentlemen. We did all 27th amendments. We really have. So this is important to know these amendments. We got through them. You guys can always go back and check it out again. This is why America is so beautiful, so great, because we have the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, right? All 27 amendments that are in there as well. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is what makes it really, really beautiful. Now that we have gone over those 27 amendments, I suggest for you guys to, you definitely want to get into that as well. What else we're going to talk about here? Got a half an hour left and things like that. So we got so much stuff in the news. Man, people have lost their jobs on social media. What's that one thing called? Let's take a look at it here. What's it called? Blue Sky. That's the liberal social media channel, man. I'm not even subscribed over there. One of these days, I should go on and create a dummy account to go in there and look at all the hate speech and see what all the craziness going on over there on the progressive far left, whacked out lunatics over there. Yeah, they're running amok and acting a fool over there, ladies and gentlemen. Acting a fool, I tell you, Don't that American flag looks good waving? That's a beautiful thing, man. All 50 states, the red, the white, and the blue. Ain't that a beautiful thing, though, man? Yeah. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to go ahead and do this here because we need to go ahead and play that American anthem again. No, you know what? I'm going to do it afterwards. I'll do it afterwards, man, once the live stream is over with. But, yeah, a lot of exciting things that's going to be happening. Yeah, we talked about Memphis. We talked about the National Guards and things like that. What else? We talked about a lot of stuff, ladies and gentlemen. We covered a lot of things on this segment, on this live stream. And they talked about the 27 amendments, which is important. We talked about a lot of liberal companies as well as these conservative companies as well. So that is important as well in regards to these liberal companies and these tech companies and things like that. So if they start to get too much out of line, I can see we're going to start boycotting them because they support and promote on the left with this lunacy, no logic, no common sense type policies that is trying to hurt the country. We are in a recovery stage right now. Trump has been doing an excellent job when it comes down to the tariffs and everything like that. The coffers are still being filled up, which is going to be rivaling the fiat currency coming from the deep state. So they're trying to do their best to try to stop Trump with the Federal Reserve. They know Trump going after the Federal Reserve. Everybody know it. And with Jerome Too Late Powell and Lisa Cook. And Lisa Cook is on the verge of being, going to be dismissed. They're trying to fight to keep her in there, but they got her on mortgage fraud. Go figure. Why is it that a lot of the people on the left, why is it that they all getting hemmed up on mortgage fraud? Adam Shifty Schiff, Letitia James, the list goes on and on and on. Why are these people and Lisa Cook, boy? And it's like, and we already got two other black women on mortgage fraud and a white man, which is Adam Schiff. Why is it that they love mortgage fraud so much, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just, man, it's just crazy. But once it get ruled out, because they try to fight this thing, it's going to go to court. But she's coming up on out of there, though, too. Once she comes out of there, and then Trump can have control because he can put his people in there. And they're already right now are challenging Jerome Powell right now. Jerome Powell is under a lot of pressure and things because he won't cut the rates. Everybody in America right now is looking at why the Federal Reserve is not cutting the rates. Trump brought business in here, inflation, because we've been under Biden's inflation for quite a while, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But they're going to try to cut it a half a point. That's not good enough. We want that thing cut at least about 2 points or more to try to bring this stuff down, though, man, because if not, they don't cut those rates, we could have a catastrophic economy, man. But I got faith that Trump and his team is going to go ahead and make sure that happens, because now that Lisa Cook is in trouble for mortgage fraud, and mortgage fraud is serious, ladies and gentlemen. When you commit mortgage fraud, when you lie on the mortgage forms, when you claiming that you're living in a particular area, living in another district, all this carry weight, ladies and gentlemen. This is not something light. Talking about, I didn't know, I didn't think it was okay. No, I mean, here we are, a AG, right? An attorney general should know better, should know the law. So why is it, or a senator? He's Adam Shifty Schiff. He should know the law. You know what I'm saying? So you have to. I mean, what makes you feel like you're exempt from normal people? See, and that's the problem too with these corrupt politicians and people in the legal system. They think they're better than us, right? they think they should get a pass, right? Preferential treatment, right? Which is a bunch of bull, you know. I really can't wait till they throw the book at them, because they got enough evidence that, yes, mortgage fraud, everything they accuse Trump of, they've been doing it. They're the ones that's over here committing mortgage fraud and all that. And I'm sure we might catch them with some other stuff too besides the mortgage fraud. Because when you're a career criminal do criminal things if you're a criminal, you know. So you do things that what a criminal does, you know. So yeah, so other than that though, yeah, we're just talking about some stuff in regards to that. Going over this Constitution and things, which is a beautiful thing. Let's see here. Hold on for one moment. Well, I just love that American flag, don't you guys? Yeah, got it saved in here, but yeah, I thought it was really, really cool. Let's see here. What is going on here? Yeah, let me see here. We go back here. You don't need to view my channel. I'm already on my channel already. All right. Caroline Levitt. Let's see here. No, Trump. Oh yeah, what we just were talking about right here. Let's take a look at it.
Well, in other news, President Donald Trump is taking his fight to fire Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook all the way to the Supreme Court. He's asking the High Court to clear the way to remove her from the board entirely, which would change the face and the voting makeup of that board. Of course, this comes one day after the Fed cut interest rates for the first time in, 9 months? Mr. Trump says he fired Cook on the grounds that she committed mortgage fraud. Well, Cook fired back, denying this, and says the president doesn't have the authority to fire her. So let's bring in CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady, who broke that news for us in the last hour on CBS News 24/7. What could that mean for the courts, for the Federal Reserve Board, and for ultimately the decision going forward?
So this was an unexpected next step because, in fact, the appeals court, which was sort of the last step in the legal process before it would go to the Supreme Court, just hours before the Federal Reserve Board started meeting, said, hey, Lisa Cook can continue in her position. So she was one of the folks in the room when all of that was happening this week. So the Supreme Court will still have to take up that case. But if they were to take that case up and rule with the president, this would give him the power to fire Cook. And it's not just about the Federal Reserve. There's been a lot of questions about the president's power to fire individuals in these sort of independent institutions from the White House. And it's always for cause, but the law is just so vague when it comes to cause that any ruling by the Supreme Court there would really set a legal precedent going forward for these types of personnel moves, whether there is a Republican or a Democrat in the White House. Now, if they were to rule against the president, just that very same thing, it would really limit and define what cause is and what the president would be able to do moving forward, whether it be with the Federal Reserve and maybe even Chair Powell or some of the other organizations. What it means for us at home in terms of interest rates is if the Supreme Court were to take up this case and rule with the president and be able to fire Lisa Cook, that would give the president the power to put one more person in that room that would likely see interest rates the same way that he does. Now, it's supposed to be an independent position, and these terms are for a decade at least. And so you normally have these people appointed by different administrations, but then they stay on for much longer. And they do look at the data. But that's sort of the concern, that there would be one more person in the room that the president would get to appoint. And his most recent appointee, Stephen Miron, who just replaced Adriana Kugler, who stepped down recently, voted for a 0.5-point rate cut, more along the lines of what the president was looking to see.
All right, so we know that you were live for us yesterday at the New York Stock Exchange. I've got to imagine there's some new reporting on NVIDIA that is catching your attention and also the attention of investors today on the stock exchange.
It is. So NVIDIA, I just looked, is up about 3 to 4%. But the bigger stock that is moving right now is Intel, right? The famed chip maker, you go back a couple of decades or so, they've been down and out, really missed the wave when it comes to this artificial intelligence revolution. Their stock, though, up 29% right now, Reed, and that is because NVIDIA has announced that it will invest $5 billion worth or buying $5 billion worth of stock for a stake in the company, and they are going to co-develop
talked a little bit about that though. So yeah. What else going on in the news? So I got a little time left, almost 20 minutes. All right, let's see what's going on here before I go. Let's see, who's that calling me? Nope. Nope, Nancy. I am good. Let me see what else is going on here. Let me see here. So a little bit more talks about Paul on Lisa Cook. I know what's going on. National Guards. In Memphis. Talked about this a little bit earlier. So I already know about that. All right. So yeah, talked about a lot of that here. Oh yeah, Cash Patel. Talked about a little bit of this, talked about this a few times here, how social media may have played into Charlie Kirk's assassination. Let me see here. Yeah, so trying to see if something that's really newsworthy. For real. A lot of this stuff is, so especially with the passing of Charlie Kirk, Yeah. Let me see. Here's Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum and things. Yep. In my opinion, she's definitely a controlled puppet of the cartel. That's for sure. Let me see here. U.S. amphibious forces have arrived in Colombia. Yep. Look at that, boy. Look at our military might, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I'm talking about here, boy. We are superior land or on sea. Look at that. That's just some beautiful, look at that. That's just some beautiful thing right here. Yeah. Let me see here. Right here. First flying car. Yeah, right there. That's interesting. Yeah, look like we'll be in flying cars soon, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, so yep. Yeah, who is this devil here, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, that's me and my look at it, boy, that's me and all my look at it, boy. Yeah, that's why I'm gonna get back down slim again before I got hurt. Ladies and gentlemen, for those that didn't think that I was a thin guy, this is the proof right here, boy. Look at this. Yeah, this is I got telling you guys though, look at that boy there, boy. It was good. That was 6 years ago. And stuff. So I'm gonna encourage you guys to download. Yeah, look at that. That's in my early days, ladies and gentlemen. That's in my early days. Look at that, boy. Well, I was a good-looking guy, ain't I? Yeah, not much difference, but the weight still looked the same, though. Yeah, I was a good-looking guy, though, wasn't I? Oh man, yep, yep. So that's some of my early stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. When I used to try to run a health corner, I already know what to do. But yeah, when I get myself back down and things like that, yep. But this is me. I take off the glasses though. You guys can still see it's me. Yep. Oh man, I just ran across that. Boy, look at that. Yep. But but ladies and gentlemen, but other than that, and that was 6 years ago. Yep. 6 years ago. But yeah, man, they may just go ahead and cut it early because, I think I kind of covered all the main stuff. If anything, I just wanted to talk about the Constitution and everything like that. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Boy, I tell you. Yep. I got a few of them. I got a few early videos. I forgot all about these. They still up there, man. They are still up there, boy. I'm looking like a young boy for real, you know. The weight, and you know, the camera too, man. I forgot. The camera adds like 20 pounds to you. You know what I'm saying? That camera adds 10 pounds. It adds 10 pounds to you because I'm really not that big. I'm a big guy, but add 10 pounds to what I already have on, man. It's like, dang, you know? But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys, share a little bit of that of myself, you know? Yep. Yeah, here's another one here. Yep. I just want to let you guys know, you know? Yep. Man, you know, I tell you, boy, look at that. Yep. Yeah, your brother, boy. I've always been a small guy before, you know, before I got injured, you know, but I'm working on it, going through the chiropractic and same things, getting that stuff done, though. I'm going to be right back with my good looking self and all, though, boy. Look at that. Boy, I tell you, man. Yeah. Just want to show you guys that a little bit. Oh, man. What's going on here? Gen Z roadside service. Oh, this over here on some clowning stuff, you know. Yeah. Yep. So other than that, though, yeah, I think that's mainly it right there. Same old hustle. Yeah. Boy, I tell you. Yep. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this live. I thank you guys for being part of Some Random Guy Speaks. I'm your host, Tony G. And we are going to end with you already know, don't you? We are going to end, ladies and gentlemen, with the American anthem because it's a beautiful thing. So without further ado, let's go ahead on, let's get it. So the American anthem, ladies and gentlemen. Boy.
The twilight last gleam, whose lights and bright stars through the perilous skies, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, keep through the night. That our flankers will dare. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? For the land of the free and the home of brave.
Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it is a beautiful thing, let me tell you. But I appreciate y'all for showing up and things. We got iPad Ghosts, Timothy was in the house, you know what I'm saying? And then also too, Barbecue Roadkill was in the house. So yeah, I appreciate y'all for showing up and things. It looked like I'm gonna go ahead on and end the live. I was gonna end it at 2, but I think I covered mainly everything though. Did the Star Spangled Banner again. Talked about a lot of stuff today and things, but yeah, I appreciate you guys for showing up and you know, no showing out, but showing up. Some of you guys had a chance to see some of my earlier videos like 6 years ago when I was a lot thinner, you know, so which I am, because I used to try to run a health channel show, which I am going to go back. I'm going to get my weight back down because I've been going to the chiropractor, getting my knee and stuff together, though. I'm going to get myself back fit again, like, you know, because I always been a thin guy before, to tell the truth. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm going to be doing a lot of things. A lot of things are going to be happening this year for me. Health is going to be one of them, you know, health, wealth, and happiness, you know. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, I salute to you and America. God bless America, you as well as Donald J. Trump. I am out. Peace and chicken grease.